Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, as we are counting down until the 2023 Daytona 500, we are 93 days away. And so today, with us doing the driver profile of Colt Custer for yesterday, today we have the NASCAR Cup Series all-time and current wins. So I'm going to run down the top 20 in all-time wins, and then the top 20 in current wins. And so there's been 203 different winners in the 74-year history of NASCAR Cup Series. There has been 139 that won 2 or more, 81 that won 5 or more, 63 that won 10 or more, 42 people have won 20 or more Cup Series races, 29 have won 30 or more, and then 20 have won 40 or more. So the top 20 in points have won at least 40 races. So number 20, Mark Martin. He's got 40 wins in his career. Number 19, Bill Elliott, Austin Bill from Dawsonville, 44 wins. Number 18 on the list, Buck Baker, 46 wins. Tied for 16th, Denny Hamlin and Herb Thomas, 48 wins. Now, Herb Thomas, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, I know back in 55, the Carl Kiefgaver and Speedy Thompson took out Carl Kiefgaver's driver, Speedy Thompson, took Herb Thomas out, so another Kiefgaver driver, Buck Baker, could win the championship. That Herb Thomas was severely injured, and that ended his full-time racing career. He made a handful of starts after what wasn't the same. Otherwise, that number would be a lot higher because he was one of the best at his time. Number 15 on the list, Tony Stewart, 49 career wins. Tied for 13th, Ned Jarrett, Gentleman Ned Jarrett, and Junior Johnson, both with 50. Junior Johnson is probably one of the greatest drivers of all time. And he never won a championship. Junior Johnson with 50 wins, Denny Hamlin with 48, Mark Martin with 40. None of those guys ever won a championship. So I will definitely be doing driver profiles on those three during the off-season as well. Number 12 all time, Lee Petty, 54 wins. 11, Rusty Wallace with 55. Tied for 9th, 2 active drivers, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick with 60 apiece. Number 8, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, 76 victories. Tied for 6th, Jimmy Johnson and Cale Yarborough with 83. So with Jimmy coming back, he actually might be able to get a win and tie himself for 4th all-time with Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip. So if he were to get 2 wins, he could bypass both of them, but they're tied at 4th with 84. Now, if you ask Bobby Allison, he should have 85 wins. 1971, Myers Brothers 200 at Bowman Gray Stadium. It was a combination race with the NASCAR Cup Series and the Grand American Series at the time, which basically was the Xfinity Series. And because it was a quarter-mile short track, Bobby Allison decided to run his Grand American car, the Matador I think it was, and because he won the race in the Grand American car, the victory only counted toward the stats of the Grand America, not the Cup Series. He has been fighting for years trying to get NASCAR to change that so he would have 4th place all to himself. They've yet to do it. I'm pretty sure they won't do it. So he's 4th all-time, tied with Darrell Waltrip with 84. And if Jimmy gets a win with him coming back with Petty GMS Racing, he might be able to tie them, if not pass them. 3rd all-time, Jeff Gordon, 93 wins. Modern-day record. Now, when we do the video about the eras of racing, we'll talk about the modern day and kind of how I break down the eras, which was the Grand National era, then classified the modern day in 72. I even break it down a little bit more with the current stage racing era and then the different chases and stuff we had. Number 2 overall, all-time win list, David Pearson. And then number 1, of course, the king, Richard Petty. Now, when it comes to these all-time wins list, the very first winner in NASCAR Cup Series history was Jim Roper. That very first race at Charlotte Speedway, June 19th, 1949. The very first 2-time winner was Red Byron. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 was all Curtis Turner. 9 was Fonty Flock. 10, 11, 12 were all Herb Thomas. 13, 14, 15, 16 was Tim Flock. 17 was Herb Thomas. That was in 1953, March 8th, 1953. By June of 56, Herb Thomas was up to 48 races. He was the all-time leader at the time. In October of 59, Lee Petty got his 48th win. By March of 1960, Lee Petty took over the all-time wins list at 49. And then November 20th, 1960, Lee Petty got his final win at Speedway Park, his 54th. His son Richard Petty tied that April 30th, 1967. And then 2 weeks later, May 13th, 1967, at Darlington, the Rebel 400, Richard Petty became the all-time race wins leader in NASCAR Cup Series with his 55th victory. And he holds that record today. He got his 200th win July 4th, 1984. Now, when you look at the current drivers, like we said, top 10 all-time, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, they are 1-2 currently with 60 wins. Now, of the top 20 all-time, the active drivers, which were Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, they're obviously not in the Hall of Fame. Jimmy Johnson's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but everyone else is in the Hall of Fame. Currently third on all-time wins list is Denny Hamlin. Fourth is Brad Keselowski with 35 wins. That puts him 24th all-time. Fifth, I'm going to put Kurt on this because he is technically retired from full-time competition. I still believe if he can get cleared, he'll be back part-time. So Kurt Busch is 34 wins, or fifth currently, 25th all-time. Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., 31. 8th place, tied for 8th, Greg Biffle and Kyle Larson. So Kyle Larson is currently 9th currently in all-time in wins with 19. He had 10 wins last year. So he literally doubled his total last year. Chase Elliott is 10th currently with, now this is just of active drivers, with 18 wins. Followed by Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman with 7. Christopher Bell, William Byron, Austin Dillon with 4. Eric Almirola, Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick with 3. Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Bubba Wallace each with 2. And we currently have 6 drivers with 1 win. So we have 28 active drivers that have at least 1 win in the NASCAR Cup Series of those 203 all-time victors. So, all-time wins list, we have some active drivers in the top 10. We have some Hall of Fame drivers, all Hall of Fame drivers, mind you. We have some legends of the sport from every era. The Herb Thomas, Buck Baker era, onto the Ned Jarrett Jr. Johnson, Lee Petty era, onto the Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip era, David Pearson, Richard Petty, then Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and then modern day Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. So that is the all-time wins list currently and all-time in the NASCAR Cup Series. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. We are 93 days away until Daytona. Stay tuned to the Robert Sports Show as we count down until the beginning of 2023. As always, don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.